Today is really meant for you guys to ask questions. Any questions you might have about your trips or consulting in general. It's supposed to be a helpful and informative session for you guys, so I hope that you feel free to ask them any questions. We have three very awesome people with us today, Marina, Rachel, and Taylor from PIBV. Thanks for coming, guys. They're going to I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and they're going to give you a little overview and maybe some practice with some consulting scenarios. All right. Yeah. Thank you. So enjoy, guys.
Yeah, so we'll give a quick introduction. I'm Taylor. I'm a second-year MBA student. To give you a little bit of an idea of my background, after undergrad, I was in management consulting for 3 years. I left that, started a company on my own, and then came to Wharton. So I've done some of the consulting things in the corporate setting as well as in the nonprofit setting. This past summer, I led a project going down to Guatemala where we worked with a local organization there to set up a new business incubator, which was lots of fun, challenging, but very rewarding. And let Marina introduce herself.
Sure. Hey guys, my name is Marina. And, before Wharton, I lived in the Bay Area, so I worked a lot with tech companies. I used to do software implementation consulting, and then I just worked in an online commerce store doing their internal business development. And I've been involved with PIBV for 2 years. Last year I was a project developer, and then this year I'm the VP of 2 regions. One is Latin America and one is Eurasia. And over the winter break, I went to Guatemala and did a follow-up project on the project that Taylor worked on over the summer. So same business incubator, just they're getting closer and closer to actually rolling it out. So I worked with them more on like very specific things, such as, you know, which local company should be in the incubator and how do you actually get it off the ground and running in the next 3 months. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And now on to Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a first year. I apologize in advance for an inability to modulate the sound of my voice because I can't hear as I'm stuffed up. I have been involved with WIBP since the last term. I was a project developer for a project in Kenya, working with a social enterprise, a nonprofit that wanted to launch a profitable social enterprise. My background prior to Wharton was actually in international development, not consulting. So I was kind of learning as I was going, and I will tell you more about the project as we go.
Cool, thanks guys. I'll give you a quick overview of what we're planning to run through so people have an idea of sort of how the session will go. We're going to give you just a quick introduction to our organization. It's kind of the comparable organization to you guys here, and we'll give you a little bit of an idea of what we do, how many projects, things like that. Then we're each going to spend a little bit of time talking about the projects that we led, so you guys can kind of get a sense of the types of projects that we've done, ask any questions that you have. We can give you kind of the highs and the lows and things we might have done differently if we had gone back and we're doing the project again. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a breakout session. So depending on which project teams are here, we'll kind of figure out if it makes sense to do this in your own project teams or to just form groups. And we'll kind of walk through some key questions that we're hoping you guys are going to start thinking about as you prepare to go on your projects. And then final Q&A. So sound good? Okay. All right, so to give you a little bit of a background of WIBP, our mission is up here. We're essentially really helping students have the opportunity to connect the business skills that they're learning at Wharton to an organization that otherwise wouldn't be able to have access to those resources. So it's really saying, what are you learning in the classroom? How can you apply it? And it's giving students a chance to work outside of the US if they haven't already and kind of develop some of those consulting skills that they can use really if it's in the nonprofit world afterwards or if it's in a corporate world, but you kind of the same principles apply. And then we're also sort of raising awareness throughout the campus. We do a lot of big fundraisers and whatnot, so trying to get everyone involved. To give you an idea of our projects, and our partners, we like to partner with organizations that are smaller, so I think it's pretty similar to what you all do. We're looking, again, to find those organizations that don't already have 1 million volunteers going there where we can really make a big impact. The structure of the team varies project by project. We try and keep the teams really small, like 2 to 4 people, to really give you a great experience and to get the team so it's not too big, not too small, but you guys can get a lot done. Again, similar to what you guys do, the timing, May and August, and we go through all different sectors. So it's kind of nice that students can get their hands dirty in whatever they're kind of interested in. And then, let's see, we do a bunch of fundraising, so we're partially subsidized. I'm not sure how that works with you guys, but that's kind of us. And then to give you an idea of the magnitude, in 2010 we had 19 projects go all around the world. We were in 3 regions last year. This year we've expanded into the Eurasia region because we realized we're kind of missing a whole chunk of countries that people are really interested in going to. So you can see a whole, lots of different organizations, lots of different project focuses, and the 3 that are highlighted in yellow, we're going to give you a little bit more color on today. So it's kind of the broad brushstroke overview. And then, so here's the first project that we'll talk with you guys about. This was my project, and what we were doing is we were going down and helping this organization figure out how do we build an incubator. We were 3 people. We spent 3 weeks. And it was a really, really interesting learning experience to see how we sort of walked on set and gained the client confidence and then figured out how do we develop this and how do we leave them with something that they can continue to develop when we are long gone. To give you an idea of the high level, what we did from week to week, and again, this will depend on every project, but week 1, it was really important, and I think you'll find that in your projects as well, it's really important to meet everyone that's there and kind of understand the lay of the land. So with a lot of these organizations, you'll find that there might be political in nature, like anything else, and it's really important to kind of identify who are those key decision leaders, who is the yes person, who can sign off on things, because I think just in general, a lot of these organizations, if they're having volunteers coming in pretty frequently, they might not take you as seriously as you'd like to be taken unless you can sort of prove to them that you're actually going to use their time very well. And so I think that's really important to keep that in the back of your mind as you're approaching them. So with all of your initial contacts that you have with the organization, to show them that you've done your homework, you're there to really make an impact. This is not a vacation, and they should give you the time that you need them to give you so that you can be as successful as possible. So that was, we figured out when we got there who we were working with on a day-to-day basis, who was signing off on initiatives that we were working on, all of that good stuff. And then we took a lot of time to tour the school. So this particular organization happened to be connected to a university who was looking to develop an entrepreneurship program. And we spent a ton of time talking to the students, the professors. We toured their grounds. So they have a farm, they have an agriculture school, and we kind of got the lay of the land to understand really what was there. We also spent a bunch of time in the local communities. So we really, told them, we can't build you an incubator if we don't understand what your community looks like. And those were kind of the time that we spent up front trying to figure out all those questions were really invaluable. The area where we were doing this speaks 26 different languages. They have a ton of infrastructure barriers to get to where this incubator center is. So it's how do you build something that the community can make use of? And you also had layered into that various levels of education, from absolutely no education to people who had gone through middle school, high school, and things like that. So how do you develop a center that serves all these myriad community needs? So really taking that time to understand the environment that you're working in. One thing that was helpful to do is to sit down with them up front and to say, we can't build you Wharton's Venture Initiation Program, right? I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but Wharton has a Venture Initiation Program where we're incubating a bunch of businesses that are, if if all goes well with those businesses, they're going to be high growth. A lot of them are high tech companies. And they're saying, well, can't we just do a cookie cutter version of that? We said, well, you can't do a cookie cutter version of that if you don't have the education and you don't have the access to resources, and if your businesses are fundamentally different, right? Because their businesses were agriculture and they were handicrafts and they were things that you just need to incubate in a very different way. So it's getting them to understand where you're coming from, that you've done research, you understand like how an ecosystem like an incubator in our case works, and then how you start matching that to their local community was pretty important. Let's see here. Well, another thing that we did that was fun and gave us a lot of insight, and every project will be different, is we put on a number of innovation workshops in the community. So we'd go to a coffee co-op and they would bring in a bunch of their employees, and they would bring in all sorts of people from the community, and we would go through, there's a professor, Professor Ulrich, who has an innovation tournament, and this is a great way to start understanding the mindset of the people that we were working with, to understand how do they come up with concepts for new businesses, and to really understand how we can best meet their needs. They weren't particularly creative, right? Because without education, they're like, you know what, for some groups the most innovative thing they could